Linda Judson, you look just like another pretty face, you know that?
Why, thank you. You like my makeup job?
Oh, yeah, makeup job looks great. Well, this looks like we're preparing for an attack on the Bay of Pigs or something. You know that? I mean, look at this man, Bob Knopf. You know, you've been on Michigan Outdoors a number of times before.
A few times, Fred.
You never dressed like this.
No, I usually wear a tri-lane shirt or something, but I feel more comfortable like this sometimes.
Well, Bob Knopf has come from Iowa. Odie and Vicki Snyder have come from Ohio. Geez, you're looking great, Vicki.
Well, you know, we worked very hard at it this morning.
You know, on Michigan Outdoors, we like to promote a lot of different outdoor sports, and I think the way you're dressed and all, people are going to say, oh, got to get into bow hunting. These people have convinced me.
Well, I'm not sure. I always thought it would be the opposite when they took a look at us, but...
No, well, this is a lot of fun. You want to tell the folks what time it is?
Well, wait a minute. It is 6:15.
A.M.
We're getting late. Yeah,
A.M. 6:15. Time to get out in the blinds. This might seem kind of crazy to you folks, but this is what it's like bow hunting. This is on a Monday morning. We're taping the show for rebroadcast at a more convenient time. Dwayne Swift from the Alpena Chamber of Commerce, you've got a setup here at Gilwanigan Lodge, just east of Alpena. No, west of Alpena.
West of Alpena.
Yeah, east of Alpena. We don't want to be there this morning.
We'd be floating, yes.
That's right. But we do have, I think, a difficulty this morning. There's been quite a few deer seen the first couple days of bow season, but we're looking at a morning with lightning outside.
It ought to be challenging, yes.
It is. Let me get over here and talk to Sam Grissom. Sam, you're a fireman down around Westland, Wayne, in that area.
Right.
Are we facing any dangers going out with a little bit of lightning in the sky?
I think quite a bit of danger. You know, particularly hunting from tree stands, standing up in the tree, holding a metal bow, you're definitely increasing the risk. You know, you're becoming a natural lightning rod. A lot of the stands are located in a little bit taller trees in the area, so that increases the chance of having a problem with lightning.
Hey, you're selling me. Ann Clark, how's that sound to you?
I think I should have stayed in bed.
Well, I'm beginning to wonder. Here, let's go talk to Dave Borgerson over here. Dave from the Fish Division at the DNR. A lot of people don't know what an ace deer hunter you are. What do you think about hunting on a morning like this?
Good morning, Fred.
Good morning. Yes, Dave. You up?
I don't like the idea, Fred. I rarely see deer these kinds of mornings. Not so much that the deer aren't there. It's because I'm not there.
I say, oh, you generally stay in bed.
Right.
Do you think that maybe we should abort this trip and wait for a better time? What do you think, Linda?
I'm ready to go. Take the chance. I've seen deer in the rain. The rain doesn't bother me. The lightning, well, it depends on how bad it gets.
So what should we use as a rule of thumb, Sam, with this lightning?
If you're struck by lightning, tell everybody goodbye.
Yeah. People are going to think we have sort of a flip attitude towards this, though. What do you think?
Really, you can't have any other attitude.
I suppose. So we're going to go out and give it a try anyway? Everybody game to crawl up in the tree? And, of course, if you see a bolt coming through the sky, then we ought to get down.
Well, I have a stand selected for you. It's all aluminum.
It is. I bet it is.
It's rather high.
I bet it is.
We have all metal cables, all metal bow,
That's
metal
great.
arrows.
That's
We're going to
great.
take care of you.
I bet you will. But we're going to go out and I think give it a try anyway. It's 6:15 in the morning. Everybody's all dressed. We're ready to give it a shot. Have you seen deer in the rain, Bob Knopf?
Yes, I have.
You have?
Yep, this is a day for a tracking arrow, though. So, But yeah, I've seen a lot of deer in the rain.
Well, I guess the thing is that when you come up bow hunting, you get all prepared. The season is here. You might as well give it your best try, right?
Right. Might as well go out and do it. You won't catch one in here.
Oh, that's for sure. Okay, well, we're going to give it a try here. We're from Bow Camp in Alpena. Whether we go out or not or stay out very long, I don't know at this point. But we'll be back in a few minutes and give you an answer. So stay tuned. It's Thursday night. Time for Michigan Outdoors.
From the rugged shore and woodlands of the north, it's history of copper mines and iron ore, the Great Lakes fisheries. To the farmlands of the southern counties, we'll look around again at all that waits the sportsman in the state of Michigan.
You cooked up a lot of bacon on these breakfasts, haven't you, Steve?
You bet. We go through about 10 to 12 pounds a day here for about 20 to 30 hunters.
You got to get that off the stove now?
real quickly.
Go ahead and move it off of there. This is Steve Kelch. He's the camp cook here at the Gilwanigan. You know, Steve, I don't know what time you got up this morning, but a lot of us were up at 5:30. At 6 o'clock, we were sitting around discussing what we were going to do, and I think breakfast was the biggest thing on the agenda.
This is right.
Oh, you got to get that grease over there. Yeah, breakfast was going to be one of the high points of the day. We had some lightning and thunder this morning while you were still sleeping.
Well, you got up at 5:30. I was up about 7, and the name of this game is that you have to prepare a lot of things ahead so that when you come back, when 30 people walk through your kitchen, you've got it all.
Well, let's take it. This kitchen here is really quite spacious and set up for this type of cooking. How much bacon do you have right there?
That's 10 pounds.
And you say you go through that in how long a time?
This will be done, this is 2 days probably right here.
How do you cook bacon for that many people?
I pan it off, do some in the oven ahead so that the first 10 people going through the line have it available in front of them. And then while that's being eaten, of course, I'm preparing more.
Okay, you've done some camp cookery yourself at your own deer camp. You take a big vat of butter here and paint on for the toast. The eggs you cook up in a big pan.
We keep those fresh. The eggs we want to do fresh so the guys have something really nice and hot off the skillet.
And sausage?
In the oven also. I prepare that like 10, 15 minutes before they're anticipating coming through the line here.
Okay, well, that's a fairly simple thing for breakfast. Of course, you have lunch facing you, dinner.
Dinner, that's a lot much more involved. That's about 2 to 3 hours of preparation time. And with this fine facility here, I have a couple ovens, and it's just as easy to cook for 30 as 300 in this place.
How are hunters as a consumer group? I just happen to know you're the night manager at the Holiday Inn here.
They are
in Traverse City.
grateful. If we had a restaurant with just nothing but hunters, it would be the cook's delight. They've been sensational.
Okay, well, that's great. Well, you're cooking up batches of things. What's on the agenda for tonight?
We're having German night tonight. Everything from knockwurst and brats and hot German potato salad and potato pancakes and maybe a little venison if we get lucky.
Okay, well, we have this one deer we're going to be cutting up in a little bit.
We're going to have it for breakfast tomorrow with steak and eggs.
How do you cook? Just a tip for the camp cooks out there who are going to be cooking this up this fall.
Which one? You mean the venison?
Yeah, how do you cook steak and eggs?
Well, we'll cut those steaks about 3/4 of an inch, and we're going to sear them to rare, and of course have nice fried onions on the side with fresh mushrooms too.
What's the trick to cooking venison steak?
Real quick. You have to sear the meat. You don't want it to be dry.
Okay, well, we have this great breakfast prepared, and there's some people out in the dining room right now. I'm going to go out and talk to them. I want to hear a report. Now, Odie, you and Vicky did go out this morning. Despite the lightning, it seemed to move off to the north.
It was a beautiful morning out there. Everybody should have gone out. Didn't see any deer, but
Yeah,
it was still a
well,
pretty morning.
I kind of thought that would be the case. And you stayed in and showered up.
Yes, I did.
Dave Borgeson, our hunt master. Dave, you said that you normally don't see too many deer on rainy days.
I was right again this
again.
time, but it didn't rain and didn't lightning. It was a nice morning in the woods.
Well, we're going to have a front moving through here sometime, you would think. Is that going to stir up the deer?
Well, it'll stir up the hunters because it has been warm. I'd like a nice cool north wind and clear this warm air out.
Well, you know, the fall is a good time to fish, Dave Borgeson, being from the fish division. A lot of people are going to be surprised you're not up here pounding the lake.
Well, anytime's a good time to fish, but when it's the fall, I go buck hunting.
Okay, well, Ed did go out fishing with Bob Knopf out there because there are some smallmouth bass in this lake, I guess.
It's surprisingly good smallmouth bass fishing.
Well, Fred, I'm out here with Bob Knopf, and we were just getting ready to do this segment. We want to talk about fall bass fishing. I put on a jig and threw it on the water, and look what I got here. What do you think there, Bob? Not a bad-looking fish, huh?
Not too bad for the first cast.
You got a landing for me here?
Let me get him up here.
I couldn't believe it. We were just practicing. I was just throwing it out there. We were just kind of talking, and he said,
That's not too bad for the
"That's not a bad looking."
I know.
What do you think that goes?
Oh, that's about a 14, 15
Yeah,
inch
nice one.
smallmouth. We're using a good bait for the time
Yep,
of
using
year,
a jig.
too.
Go ahead, put him back in that water.
Yeah, we'll turn him back and let him grow up a little bit.
All right.
There he goes.
Well, let's continue here.
Great. Now I'll get my lure. And
Talking with Bob Knopf from the Berkley Line Company, and we want to talk about fall bass fishing and the difference between fall bass fishing and summer bass fishing. Give us some tips here.
Well, when they go out there in the summer, the bass are generally deep, and they're kind of hard to catch at. And if you look at what we got on our lines, it probably will show us about
Okay.
the most. Which you caught your best. Since you caught the fish, we'll talk
Right.
about what
Okay.
you got on. But we've got a jig here, and this is a garland jig, which is there's a lead head right inside
Right.
here.
There's some weight there.
And it's about a 1/4 ounce jig, and we've put a rubber body on it with a skirt. And this is one technique that works real well in the fall, and you throw it out and you work it along the bottom like you were doing. Particularly working the drop-offs and the outer weed edges is the best place.
Right.
This is a kind of a slow presentation. As the water gets a little bit colder, you can put a minnow on this. And then that'll take you clean into November or even December for fishing.
Okay, well, how before you get into your bait, how are bass different? I want to throw this out a couple more times. I want to try to get another bass.
Okay, well,
How are fall bass different than summer bass?
The water's starting to get colder, and so the bass are moving from the deep water areas, and they're kind of concentrating on the weed edges and on the drop-offs. And so what you have to do is you have to work your bait along the weeds, the drop-offs, especially the steep drop-offs. Now these smallmouth that you caught here, they're in here on the drop-off, and they're in the rocky area.
Right.
So if a person wants to catch smallmouth or some other sort of bass, then they want to look for the steep drop-offs where it goes right down,
Okay.
where it's a little bit rocky, or if they don't have that in the lake that they fish, they want to fish on the outer edge of the weed. And if you use, like, if they start out today, it works real good to put on something like I've got a crankbait on.
Okay.
Here. And what this is kind of a fast retrieve. And if the fish are active, they can throw this out and reel it in quick, and if they're active, they'll catch a bunch of fish on it. If this doesn't work, I normally start out with this, and if this didn't work, then I put on the jig that you're using, and I'd give that a try.
Well, Sue Jacobs, what do you think? Is this your first deer that you're watching being skinned?
No, it isn't.
It isn't?
No.
You're an old pro?
I've been hunting since 1975.
And how many deer have you gotten?
Each year.
Each year you've got a deer with a bow? No kidding?
No kidding.
All bucks? That's what we hear. Now, right now, Sam is skinning this out. You must know how to do this yourself. Or have you gotten somebody to do it every time?
Right, basically, yes.
What got you interested in bow hunting?
Oh, just, I've had it in me, I guess.
Well, that's really something. Sam, she has a better record on deer than you do.
Yep. That's why I'm on this end, I guess.
Okay. Well, Sam Grissom here is doing the skinning out. Now, this deer you got yesterday morning?
Yes.
And the way the weather's been, it was 70 degrees yesterday.
Yes, it was quite warm.
Maybe we should have got it skinned out then. What do you think, Sam?
I would agree completely. The deer is fine, but it's just a little on the odorous side.
Yeah, that's from the exposed blood and so on. But this will be great eating. It looks like a yearling buck. Here, excuse us, Sam. Get in here. Sue, let's take a look at this and count the points. This is not a Boone and Crockett or commemorative bucks by any stretch.
I'm happy with it.
Yeah, it has 3 points on the left side and 1 tine on the right. That's a nice one. What's the trick to getting a deer every year? We should be talking to you about this.
Oh, really, I just get out to enjoy the out of doors of it, and that's really secondary. And
But you go at it pretty seriously. You were up and you slipped out this morning. You didn't hang around and have coffee or anything with the rest of us. You were gone.
I thought I was late.
Oh. You must get out early. Is that a trick to getting a buck?
I like to get out there. I feel better about it.
Have you gotten more deer in the morning or the evening?
In the evening. This is the first buck I've ever gotten in the morning. About 7 o'clock.
And what size of bow do you pull?
About a 40.
Well, a lot of people think you have to have a big 60, 70-pound bow in order to get a deer.
Well, what I do is I sit real still and just hope that they get close enough that I can shoot them.
Well, you must wait till they're really... How
Right.
close was this one?
10 yards.
Well, that's the way to do it. Well, back here at the butchering of the deer, Sam, we've talked this through a little bit, and you and I think alike on how you should do a deer.
Yeah, I have always advocated boning deer out. one thing, it gets me more involved in the whole process rather than just taking it off and having someone do it for me. But also I can ensure the quality of the animal, that I can guarantee that I'm going to get the best meat and the best cuts of meat possible.
Okay, and go ahead and make your first cut. Where do you make the first one? Hang it from the back legs up?
Okay, I've hung it from the back legs, and I've went through and cleaned the deer up as much as possible, trying to remove as much hair as I possibly can. Then the first thing I do is I look at the muscle groups on the animal, and I try and decide from there just exactly what I'm going to do, and I just follow the muscle outlines of the body.
Okay, now that's a good plan. While it's thundering in the background here, I tell you, this weather, it's one thing when it's warm like this, you want to get the deer in the freezer quickly.
Okay, if you lift up on the shoulder, you can see where the shoulder moves right in through here. So what you do is just pull down, come up through there like that, and make your first cut, and you can grab hold of the shoulder.
Now you see the shoulder on a deer, a lot of people don't realize is not connected to anything. It's floating, the bone is floating, the shoulder blade, and it's just muscle that connects. Right here we're going to have the whole shoulder. This is what we're taking off here is equivalent to the chuck and the front quarter on a steer. But you see the size of this, actually, this right there, taking that shoulder blade is a roast right unto itself. You don't have to cut it up any smaller than that, but you do want to clean the fat off especially. The fat is what gives venison, the fat and the sinew, the what's called silver skin or fell. You want to take this off, and we'll be doing that inside a little bit later. But those are the two shoulders right here. That was simple enough. You can do that. You hunters can do that at home yourselves. The next cut, Sam?
Okay, I come up here and again follow the muscle groups.
By the way, we're doing this in the rain right now. I don't know if you can hear the thunder in the background. Okay.
The next thing I would do is take and look and see where the ribs join the back and where you have your two loins on either side. I locate the last rib right in here, try and feel this group. Then I just more or less cut down like this. Let the knife float on the ribs.
Now this is similar to filleting a fish, actually.
Should have been over a little bit further. I'm rushing a little bit, but the nice thing about this is nothing's wasted. If you don't get it on one piece of meat, you get it on another, so you really haven't lost anything.
But this is like filleting a fish, cutting down the backbone, taking it over the ribs, exactly like filleting a fish. The only thing a fish doesn't have is the four legs, which will separate the muscle groups from that. It's very important when it's raining like this and this carcass is getting wet that we want to get this thing done quickly. We're going to get this in the house or in the lodge here very soon, I hope, Sam. I wonder...
Yeah, let's take it
I think I better grab a knife and help you out on this.
Well, the rain forced Fred and Sam inside, but we'll have more on the butchering of deer as we get closer to the November 15th opener. The rain is not totally unwelcome to bow hunters since it washes away the hunter's scent from around their tree stands, and the deer may come in a little closer than before. And if the rain stops before dark, the deer may really start to move. So the bow hunters are a little anxious for fair weather. And what could be a better place to wait than in front of a warm fire with a Michigan Outdoors Trophy Report?
But you know, Bob, you've been on Michigan Outdoors a number of times and talking about fishing and the fish that we catch. And we have what we call here in Michigan the Master Angler Program through the Department of Natural Resources, where people register their fish. So in preparing for coming up here to Alpena, I wanted to put together a special trophy report, Dwayne, from the Alpena area, the big fish that have been caught. I went through records of hundreds of entries that have been turned in. Now, you being the manager of the Chamber of Commerce up here, I got some bad news to tell you, Dwayne. You don't have any big fish from this area to speak of.
Well, it's not so much that there's not any big fish, Fred. It's more like there's a lack of awareness of the Master Angler Program. And we got to keep in mind also that we don't have near as many fishermen as some other parts of the state.
Okay, well, I am going to go through from the ones I pulled out. We're going to put together a little Michigan Outdoors Trophy report here. You look at the picture, and I'll tell you who it is and what they've got.
All right.
Okay? Well, right here, this is a perch that was 2.5 pounds. That's a dandy. Probably taken through the ice back on March 16th of Long Lake in Presque County, right next door to you here.
Well, Long Lake produces a lot of big perch.
Okay, this is caught at 9 a.m. in the morning. That's by Mr. Terry Mulsky, and he's from Posen, so he was a local. Okay, now here's a picture here of another perch, 2 pounds, 12 ounces.
That also from Long Lake, wasn't it?
No, that was from Lake Huron, right out in Alpena, probably Thunder Bay. He caught it on a wiggler Russian hook, 8 in the morning, and that was by Jim Barrett from Alpena.
Right.
Okay, so the locals know that there's some big ones. A 2 3/4 pound perch, that was 15 1/4 inches long. Now here's another one that was also taken in the morning by August Miller. That's a perch taken Lake Huron off Alpena, Russian hook with a wiggler. This was also back in, well, no, this was April 27th. That's 2 pounds, 14 ounces, 16 inches.
That's right during the time when we get a fairly decent perch run, and it's surprising because not that many people fish perch here.
Well, there's 3 that
There's at
reported
least 3,
it.
yeah.
There's at least 3, but those are all of the entries. Those are all of them, Dwayne, that we had from Thunder Bay. Now here, I want to show you another picture here. This was a Great Lakes brown trout, which was 20 pounds, a nice one, taken off Alcona County. I'd say probably Harrisville.
I would venture to say, Fred, that you're going to see within the next 5 years maybe a state record brown trout come out of the Thunder Bay area.
Okay, well this one was caught by Miss Darlene Godwa from Livonia. Caught that on a Rapala.
Before you go on, let me add one thing. There was a brown trout taken in Thunder Bay last winter that weighed 28 pounds that you don't have a picture of.
Well, there's no proof of that, Dwayne.
I have a picture of it in my office.
As far as I know, that was the biggest brown trout taken in East Michigan, and it came from Harrisville. Okay, now here's a Chinook salmon taken by Larry Dawson. How do you like that one?
Oh, that's a beauty.
32 pounds, 13 ounces, 37 inches long. Took it at 6:30 in the evening off Alcona, I'd say Harrisville, on a Magnum Northport nailer, trolling. But again, he caught that in August. That was down at Harrisville. And we have one more. This is only the 6th master angler fish from this neck of the woods that I could dig up. Diane Arndt caught this 31-pound, 10-ounce Chinook salmon off Harrisville. This was 38 inches long on a Northport nailer, trolling at 6 p.m. Dwayne, that's it. That's all that this corner of the state has to offer to fishermen. I mean, looking at the record,
well, that's not bad, Fred.
Looking at the record books, I would conclude you guys just don't have it up here.
There are not as many fishermen on the east side of the state. Just plain and simple. We have, within 20 miles of the city limits of Alpena, we have 4 of Michigan's top largest inland lakes, and they're very lightly fished. And I think that's probably the main difference.
Now, there are big fish coming from this area.
Oh, absolutely.
I know there are. They're not registered.
Absolutely.
Now, look at this one. Get a load of this picture. Look at that stringer of walleyes.
Absolutely.
That is a beautiful stringer. This was caught by Bernie Kolarczyk. Now, he's from this area up here, and I'll read you the letter that goes along with this. Here, Bob, you take a look at this.
That's a nice stringer fish.
That is a nice stringer. Now, this is what he caught. He took 29 walleyes this year from 5 to 12 1/4 pounds. Ones in the picture right there you're looking at are 12 1/4, 8, 7 1/2, and 5. He sound that motor trolling spooks the fish, and so does any unnecessary noise, so he paddles his canoe to the spot, starts casting silver countdown rapalas. This year, he did some of this and caught some trophies this way. He caught 2 big ones on 3 casts. And at the time of this picture, he said he didn't know how to get these fish registered with the DNR. So he said, well, so goes it. But you know, this is proof to me that you guys have big ones up here. And I want to make a presentation to you, Dwayne Swift from Alpena.
All right.
There are some master angler forms. You want your folks to fill these out as long as they meet the minimum weights, get them weighed on a certified scales and in the master angler program, and we'll be able to reflect Alpena in the record books.
I think that's important. And by the way, I did mention to you earlier today, we do have the state record burbot that was caught from Thunder Bay. So there is a little bit of awareness, but we don't have near the awareness of other areas of the state.
Well, really, I don't think that the people have to worry that there's going to be a flood of fishermen come up and clean out the area.
No,
You got
absolutely
plenty of
not.
fish up here, I know that.
Lots of fish. We
Okay.
really do.
Well, I just wanted to get that to you because we would like to have Alpena and a lot of other areas of the state represented in our trophy report. So write to us, you communities, and we can get you some master angler entry forms. And in just a moment, we're going to have some red-hot outdoor headlines from Bob Garner down in Lansing. There's been a lot of things happening down there, Dwayne, that I think people in the North Country and all over the state are going to be interested in. But
Well, Ed, I got a call from Fred this morning. He says good news up in Bow Camp. They've taken 2 more deer with bow and arrow. And he told me Jim Vercruzzi from the East Michigan Tourist Association got his first deer with a bow and arrow. Congratulations, Jim. Talked to Frank Apolka this week, and he tells me, he's chief of the Department of Natural Resources Law Enforcement Division, and Frank tells me that illegal snagging is of epidemic proportions right now. He reports also he's moving conservation officers from all over the state into predominantly western Michigan to try and curb which has been just chaotic illegal snagging. Now, some good news for a friend of mine that I was bow hunting with, Vic Werp of the Dry Hole Club. Here's Vic's 16th deer that he's taken with bow and arrow up at his place in Alcona County. You know, you really should get out there this weekend. Take your kids along, take the wife along, have a good time in Michigan this weekend. But join us next Thursday night right here on Michigan Outdoors.